Peter is one of the most well-known and relatable figures in the New Testament. He was directly called by Jesus, left his life as a fisherman to follow him, and became a key figure in the founding of the Christian church. However, Peter's journey was far from linear. He experienced moments of great faith and courage, but also episodes of doubt and failure. Peter's story reminds us that God can use ordinary people, even with their imperfections, to accomplish extraordinary things. Before his calling, Peter was known as Simon. He worked as a fisherman in Capernaum on the Sea of Galilee alongside his brother Andrew. It was Andrew who introduced Peter to Jesus, saying, "We have found the Messiah." John 1 verse 41. When Jesus met Simon, he gave him a new name, Peter, meaning rock. This name change foreshadowed the role Peter would play in the future, but it also contrasted with his impulsive and often unstable personality. One of the most iconic moments in Peter's life was when he walked on water. This episode is described in the Gospel of Matthew 14:22-33. After the miracle of feeding the 5,000, the disciples were in a boat, battling strong winds on the sea. During the early hours of the morning, they saw Jesus walking on the water toward them. Terrified, they thought it was a ghost, but Jesus reassured them, "Take courage. It is I, don't be afraid." Demonstrating bold faith, Peter said, "Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water." Jesus replied, "Come." Peter stepped out of the boat and began walking toward Jesus on the water. However, when he saw the wind and waves, he became afraid and began to sink. Crying out for help, Peter said, "Lord, save me." Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him, saying, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" This event encapsulates Peter's spiritual journey, a mix of bold faith and human fragility. He had the courage to step out of the boat, something none of the other disciples did, but he lost focus on Jesus when fear overtook him. Even so, Jesus didn't abandon him. This story reminds us that even when we falter or fail, Jesus is always ready to rescue and strengthen us. Another crucial moment in Peter's life was his confession of faith at Caesarea Philippi. Jesus asked the disciples, "Who do you say I am?" Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." Matthew 16 verse 16. This declaration was a milestone. Jesus praised Peter for his spiritual insight, saying, "Blessed are you, Simon son of Jonah, for this was not revealed to you by flesh and blood, but by my Father in heaven. And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church." Matthew 16 verses 17 to 18. This moment highlighted Peter's leadership and his importance in Jesus' mission. However, shortly afterward, he showed his human nature again by rebuking Jesus for speaking about his impending death. Jesus responded sharply, "Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me." Matthew 16 verse 23. This rebuke underscores the constant contrast in Peter's life, from profound revelations to misunderstandings and impulsiveness. The lowest point in Peter's journey occurred during Jesus' arrest. Despite promising unwavering loyalty, saying, "Even if all fall away, I will not," Mark 14 verse 29, Peter denied Jesus 3 times that same night. When confronted by different people who recognized him as a follower of Jesus, Peter denied knowing him, even swearing to make his point. After the third denial, a rooster crowed, and Peter remembered Jesus' words, "Before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times." He went out and wept bitterly, Luke 22 verses 61 to 62. Peter's denial is one of the most human moments in his story. The man who had shown such devotion succumbed to fear and pressure. However, this episode did not mark the end of his relationship with Jesus. After the resurrection, Jesus appeared to the disciples and had a transformative encounter with Peter on the shores of the Sea of Galilee. In this encounter, described in John 21 verses 15 to 17, Jesus asked Peter 3 times, "Do you love me?" The repetition of the question mirrored Peter's 3 denials. Each time Peter responded, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Jesus entrusted him with a mission: feed my sheep. This moment not only restored Peter but reaffirmed his calling as a leader and shepherd of the early church. After Jesus' ascension, Peter emerged as one of the primary leaders among the apostles. On the day of Pentecost, he boldly preached to a crowd in Jerusalem, declaring the gospel message with clarity and courage. His sermon led to the conversion of about 3,000 people, Acts 2 verse 41. Peter also played a pivotal role in expanding the church beyond the Jewish community. In Acts 10, he received a vision that led him to understand that the gospel was for everyone, Jews and Gentiles alike. He visited the house of Cornelius, a Roman centurion, and witnessed the Holy Spirit being poured out on the Gentiles. This event marked a turning point in the history of the church, demonstrating that salvation was available to all people. Though Peter matured in leadership and faith, he remained human. In Galatians 2, Paul recounts an incident where Peter, fearing criticism, withdrew from eating with Gentiles, prompting Paul to confront him publicly. This episode serves as a reminder that even spiritual leaders can make mistakes but can learn and grow from them. Peter ended his life as an example of faithfulness and courage. According to tradition, he was martyred in Rome during the reign of Emperor Nero. Peter requested to be crucified upside down, as he felt unworthy to die in the same manner as Jesus. His death solidified his testimony as the rock upon which the church was built. Peter's story is, above all, a story of redemption. He began as an ordinary fisherman, impulsive and flawed, but was transformed by God's grace into a courageous leader and one of the pillars of the early church. His journey reminds us that God does not choose the perfect but equips those willing to follow him, despite their weaknesses. Peter also teaches us the importance of forgiveness and restoration. Even after denying Jesus, he was embraced and restored to fulfill a greater purpose. His life is a testament that no matter how great our failures, God always offers us another chance to begin again. Additionally, Peter challenges us to exercise bold faith. Just as he stepped out of the boat to walk on water, we are called to trust Jesus even in the most challenging circumstances. And like Peter, we can learn from our moments of doubt, knowing that Jesus is always ready to lift us up when we fall. Peter's faith, which walked on water and faltered, continues to inspire Christians around the world. His story serves as a powerful reminder that faith does not mean an absence of failures, but a willingness to keep moving forward, trusting Jesus, and allowing Him to transform us. If you liked this video and want to know more about the characters that surrounded the life of Christ and formed the rich biblical story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and send this video to your friends. Turn on notifications to know when new videos come out.